freshly delivered shrimp from Rwanda. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Literally 3 kilograms of shrimp from the Congo, all together for $30. Incredible. So for today, this morning, answer some emails. Now I'm heading out to a co-working space called Silicon, where I had an accountant. She's gonna be focusing on, especially my agriculture business with my dad. So she's gonna be focusing on that and getting that together. And then after that, I have to go to a supermarket called City Market. Good news, they finally agreed to order some of our honey. It's a simple batch, which means they didn't order a huge quantity yet. They want to see how it performs in their store. And then after that, my customer service support agent, the one that I let go, I actually offered to help her set up her own little firm where she's going to be freelancing, offering customer support services to other businesses. And then after that, I come home, girl. I come home to do more work. But I'm tired already, so happy Monday. So just dropped off some jars at a local grocery store called City Market. I'm a little bummed. So what happened was I met him through a friend. Sorry, my head is like getting cut off. But I met him through a friend, the co-owner. And so how it works here, unlike in the US, maybe that is how it is in the US, but from my experience with retailers in the US, it wasn't like this. But ultimately, I think it's what you call on consignment, I think. So they pretty much, I just dropped off 50 jars. I gave them 2 freebie, 48 is what they ordered. And what happens is that instead of paying me for the 48 up front, they're gonna hold it in on their shelves and see how it sells. And then they'll just pay me after 21 days for those that sold, and those that did not sell, they'll just give it back to me. So I don't know, I'm a little bummed because in the US, from my experience when I was testing out my honey, a lot of the retailers just pay me up front for everything, but these guys don't. Oh, the car's about to move. These guys don't, but that's okay. And based on my research, I feel like Congo, from my experience, it's more of a brown sugar consumer because we have a lot of sugar canes here. Honey, not so much. So I really need to go back to the drawing board of mapping out which country and which retailer grocery chain in the West buys the most honey. So I really need to go back to the drawing board, but I'm a bit disappointed because I really expected it to be a big sell up front, but that's okay. Maybe this is just branding exposure and see how it performs, and then we go from there. Hello. I was literally just here like reflecting. I think literally, who knew that YouTube will become somewhat therapeutic? Man, I need to get my hair done. Oh my gosh, I need to get my hair done. Oh, my address. But anyways, so back to my place. Like I said earlier, it's a little discouraging. I think, with the grocery store. Not really going through it. So ultimately what it is that I come to find out one of the reasons why the grocery store didn't really buy a lot of bulk of my honey right away, which is weird because when I was there, I noticed they have a bunch of honey from Europe. I'm like, what the hell? So one thing about Congo is that the local population, and when I say local, I'm not talking about the low income population that's pretty much trying to survive. No, we're talking about the middle upper class and the elite that have been here forever or for a long time. They don't buy local. It's a weird thing about Congo. Like anywhere else I've been in the world, whether it's Colombia, Mexico, Europe, even Asia, there's a huge push and appreciation for local people buying their own stuff. Whereas in Congo, a lot of restaurants, grocery stores, they import all the time. And the locals that have been here, they claim that anything that is local is not good quality or is not well made. Which historically speaking, to be fair, a lot of the small artisans that are doing everything by hand and don't have the machinery, I can understand. But our honey, like we literally invested now in top of the line machine that got imported from Belgium. Like we have a farm, all these things. So I was expecting them to be more receptive given how transparent I've been about our warehouse and the machinery that we've invested in. But it's also a lesson learned in terms of product market fit. I think I'm just gonna really push for my honey in Western markets, because I really think, if in my experience in California, people love the idea that it's from Congo, it's organic, it's made by local women. There's a huge appreciation and understanding and the value of that, whereas locally it's just not valued. And what's even crazier, the grocery store, like I sold it to them for $10 a jar, which they can sell, this pretty much MRSP pricing. They get to sell it on their shelf for 15 a jar, which, okay, fine. I would have sold it for like 12, 13, but fine, they want to put it at 15, given our branding and all that stuff. But then I go there today, the grocery store is like, oh no, can you actually sell it just for $7 a jar? Then they can sell it at 15. Like that's almost like a 90% margin that they would make on the honey. Like we're a small business, and it was even insane. The guy's like, well, I'm only gonna take about 48 of a jar, maybe 48 a month. Meanwhile, honey from France, he literally just ordered like $70,000 worth of honey from France, just ordered and shipped in. But in his defense, it's not even to come after the grocery store. Based on their experience, I believe it. Like a lot of the locals here that are affluent don't buy Congolese. So it's just a little discouraging. And I think it just adds to my frustration of like living in Congo, which I don't want to rant again. I feel like I'm ranting a lot about this, but I just feel like I romanticized moving back to Congo a bit too much. And I think I missed the West. And I really thought that I would come here, build businesses, have a huge impact. And I know it takes time, but Congo is such a different market. Like there's not even data on what businesses are the most viable. And the businesses that I've seen be the most successful are these new grocery stores that are opening up and these new manufacturers that are opening up. But that's industrialization, which we're doing with our farm, and that's all I can take on. And even with our farm, it's a lot of upfront costs to industrialize something and go into manufacturing. It's so much upfront cost. And I think for me, long term, I've always been honest about this, that I would love to become some kind of venture capitalist, investing in other businesses and move back to San Diego. And I really just think right now, I think this is the universe or God just making it clear, like I'm gonna focus on the honey, focus on scaling Kinspot, and slowly make my way back to California. And the good thing about the honey, as long as I set up the production here, I can focus on making sure it gets to retailers in the Western market. But it is a bit disappointing. It's really disappointing because doing business in Congo, it's not easy. Doing business in general is not easy. Like any founder would tell you that. But the Congolese market is just such a unique market. And then it's very scary because a lot of people that seem to be doing well here, it's almost like you could just conclude that it's either money laundering or you're like, what is happening? But when you're trying to make an honest living, when you're trying to really bring something new to the market, people are not as receptive. Or I'm also just thinking for myself, maybe, you know what, I'm not solving the right problem. That's another thing in business, right? Like you got to solve the right problem. And I think the Western market, like I see this a lot on social media, even on YouTube, so many influencers, they sell things like clothing. Some people even sell stickers for notebooks, and they're making a lot of money out of that. But I realize it's like the Western market, they're past survival mode. Now they're just consuming things that they don't really need to feel happy, you know? So the needs are very different. Whereas here, you're still trying to solve the basic problem. But what's weird, those who are affluent and local, they don't want to buy locally. They rather, well, that's Milo going crazy. They would rather buy overseas. Milo, stop. So it's a little discouraging. My dog is just going bonkers. It's a little discouraging, but I think for me, it's just obvious that, yeah, I need to rethink living here any longer. And I really thought it to myself, even today when I was at the pool, reflecting and journaling, this chapter of my life. Like I still want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a venture capitalist, but I think the next season of my life, I also want to start thinking more about settling down. And I just don't see myself settling down in Congo. And it breaks my heart to say that. I don't know why I feel bad saying that. Like, I feel bad saying that I don't want to stay here long term. I shouldn't, but I feel bad. So I need to figure that out. Ugh, just another day. I'm a little bummed, but that's okay. Not every day is going to be a jolly, happy day, and we have to allow ourselves to feel. And I think I'm just going through a season of transition, and I just need to make peace with this is not where I belong, and that's okay. Okay, my psoriasis is not so bad, like so bad. Okay, well, it's getting a little better with the rainy season. Oh, let me go over here. Okay, this lighting is better. So today's agenda, there's an agriculture business conference happening in Kinshasa. I'm gonna go because I'm in the honey business. Here's the thing with these conferences. I feel like when I was younger, in my early career, in my 20s, conferences are amazing for that. Like, if you're listening to this and you're at that stage of your life where you need to, I really think conferences are the best. They're for a few reasons, right? One, you get to see other people in the industry. What are they up to? So it helps you with your best practices, how to innovate, get better. And let's be honest, it fosters competition, healthy competition. So you know who's doing what out there. So you can align your pricing, your machinery and all that jazz with market value. Two, I really think it's great for networking. You know, these conferences, really, a lot of people, when they go, is to raise funds because a lot of investors come to these things and all that jazz. Now, on the flip side, what I really don't like about these kind of conferences is just a lot of people, especially the bigger the conference, the more it's like high-level conversations. To follow up with people is so hard, even investors. And so it just becomes a lot of jargon and it's just draining. My favorite types of conferences are the small to medium size, or the ones that are literally meetings, exclusive ones. I know it sounds really bougie, but it's just the truth. Where few are invited, to even get in, it's extremely high cost because it filters people out. But then I understand the benefit of these conferences, like today in Congo, it's the Agriculture DRC Business Conference. They just remove the barrier to access to smaller farming businesses, which is great. But I don't know. I'm going in with very low expectations, low disappointment. But let's just see what's going to happen. I'm going to go, and I'm really excited because our accountant that I just hired, she is her first conference, really good for professional development, and she gets to see what's out there. So I'm going to take you guys with me. Oh boy. Honestly, I'm not really feeling my hair now that I see it in daylight. But anyways, I just came back from the room. So right now I'm actually grabbing breakfast. There's a restaurant called Atrium next to the conference hall here at Pullman. Let me pull my camera. I hate how close the Sony camera lens gets. It's insane. But anyways, yeah, so I'm at the Atrium, about to grab breakfast while the conference starts. It says 8 to 5, but it's like 8:30 now. Honestly, this thing is probably gonna start at 10 o'clock. I kid you not. But anyways, while I'm here, one of my staff members, accountants, texts me. She's like, oh, they pulled us back. So pretty much I got here, I put my bag at the second row from the front because there was like nobody. And then my accountant arrived, so we're sitting down. And then while I'm grabbing breakfast, I invited her, she doesn't want to eat. So she's sitting there, and then some of the people at the conference are like, oh no, the first 4 rows are for the protocol or authorities, which is so, like, this is one thing about Congo that is so frustrating. Government bodies and stuff like that are so, like, the authorities here are insane, and they've kept that power for so long. I'm gonna avoid the rants so I don't get shot or something, which I don't think will happen, but because it's freedom of speech. But long story short, the first 4 rows of the conference, just mind you, this conference room is not even that big, are reserved for government agencies, and this is a conference on agriculture business. Why would you reserve pretty much your first 4 rows, which is like half of the conference room, for government or authorities for a private sector conference? Like, And then you literally ask the lady that works there to like assign you rows. I'm like, why is that? She's like, oh, well, we follow the rules. We don't need to think. We just follow the rules. My girl caked her face with makeup, and I'm like literally probably here to snatch her boyfriend or something or husband. Good for you, girl. I'm not even hating on your dating game. I should probably step up mine. But it is so frustrating. That's one of the things about doing business in Congo that's just so frustrating. And anyone that wants to do business here, you need to be aware the amount of government agencies and interference in this country is insane from top level to micro level. And it just causes so many barriers. Anyways, I'm gonna stop ranting. I feel like this week I'm being negative Nancy and just annoyed. I'm gonna stop.
Permettez-moi d'abord de
Okay, so back from the conference, just a little recap. Oh my gosh, I love this hat. Literally bought it at Marshall's in San Diego 2 years ago for like $5. Love it. And doing this orange number that I got from Amazon. And my bathing suit from Aerie. Best bathing suit brand for the curvy sisters. Anyways, definitely 3 companies not sponsoring this YouTube channel at all. I just love them. But anyways, yeah, the conference was interesting. It went as expected. Honestly, here's the thing. The entrepreneur in me and the Westerner in me cringes at the fact that Congo, the system is so bureaucratic. Literally the conference, Milu, stop. Milu, stop. Literally the conference, really, it just starts with the opening. There's the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Agriculture, the Prime Minister, they do the opening. Cool. First of all, it started 3 hours late. We get that 8 o'clock, because that's what we were told. It started at 11 o'clock, because that's when these authoritative figures decided to show up. Fine. Black people time, fine. But literally it starts, and I think for me, what just drains me out is like, it's such a bureaucratic system where even the speeches given by these authorities, it's all from a perspective of like, to the sector of agriculture has 10,000 barriers. We've addressed them, we are acknowledging them, but we need partnerships from bailleur, which is like funder in French. But the problem with that structure, historically speaking, a lot of developing countries like Congo have had to depend on like the Monetary Fund, the World Bank. And my gosh, if you read those terms of loans that those institutions have put on third world countries, it's insane. We're pretty much not gonna get out of it. And then from our leadership perspective, historically speaking, let's be honest, a lot of these leaders, they take the money, they don't pay back, they misuse the funds. So ultimately, it's in this loop of public sector constantly having to depend on these international donors. These donors charging exacerbated rates, so it doesn't really develop itself. But the good thing about the conference was that the leadership acknowledged that the future of Congo is entrepreneurship and private sector, especially agriculture. And I think for leadership to acknowledge that, I think it will open up doors. Now, the struggle with that too is that culturally speaking, systemically speaking, it's a very much a risk, how do you say this? It's very like they don't take risky. I don't know if it's risk adverse, but like it's not really a risk-taking culture. So I think it's very tough. And I think the space of agriculture, as I'm doing it with my honey, the tough thing with it versus tech, which is the world that I really know well, tech has a very low barrier to entry. Look at YouTube. I mean, who would have thought today influencers are $1 billion industry? These are guys recording their lives with their iPhone. Props, clap, anyone can get in. Whereas agriculture, it's so much money in terms of machinery, land. And in Congo, you're dealing with bureaucracy from Kinshasa to some of these suburban areas that colonizers call villages. I hate that word. Sometimes I use it, but I hate it. These sort of suburban areas, from the capital to those areas, you're dealing with so much corruption. The policeman stops you, gotta pay him out. You get the road is broken, you gotta pay this person. It's just insane. So I think all this to say, the conference went as expected. I wasn't really expecting much, but it just echoes my annoyance. But in true entrepreneur fashion, and this is one thing I've learned about the American system, honestly, just do it anyway. It sounds bad, but like, not break the law, but do it and figure it out later. Because clearly, if you wait too long, nothing's ever gonna happen. And I think it's very frustrating though, to sit in a room with the boomers generation, no offense, no shade, but real talk, boomers generation, who are so stuck in that mindset of bureaucracy, and they have to be, that's all they know, and it's a good way to keep their power. Let's be honest here. Like, you don't want to change the system when it benefits you. So I think for me, that's a bit frustrating, but at the same time too, it's an opportunity to sort of cut through the noise, and make things happen. But that's that. Now it's hella hot. I'm gonna go to the pool at sunset and then read a book and live my best life, and then come back, make dinner, and chill with my dog.